all of that taken care of, Josh, let's start off with a fun question. It seems like most gender and sexuality professionals have their preferred version of the alphabet soup acronym that they use in their work or in their community regarding sexual orientation and gender identity. So my question is, which acronym do you generally prefer and why?
Thanks, Melita. That's a great question. Well, I'd say in my practice, I primarily use LGBTQ, the Q meaning queer. I think that it is the most commonly used, specifically with a lot of the clientele that come into my office. And everyone seems to have a certain degree of comfort with that alphabet soup there. But I think personally, and with some clients specifically, I only use the term queer, and I understand some of the risks, some of the challenges that come with reclaiming a word that may have at one point been derogatory, and so I am hypersensitive to using that word sparingly and only really connecting with people around the term queer or the use of the phrase queer community when I feel like somebody is most comfortable using that term. So lately I've been trying to make a transition, particularly with my clientele. I'm using the letters DSG, or diverse, sexuality, and gender. I think it's all-encompassing. I think it's less stigmatized. I think that it doesn't create an us versus them false dichotomy. So I've been really trying to think that through and raise awareness.
Great. Yeah, well, it's interesting with DSG, so diverse, sexuality, and gender. I've also heard gender and sexuality diversities. And so I'm wondering, just because you can kind of reorganize those three letters, are we going to be dealing with another alphabet soup? Or do you think this one's going to stick and be pretty straightforward?
You know, I think that's a possibility. And I am not so much concerned with what letters we're using if we're using letters that don't promote stigma any longer. I think that the challenge that I have with some of the alphabet soup that we currently use is how limiting it might be, how exclusionary it is of certain populations still today, no matter how long you make it. And the good news about diverse sexuality and gender, or gender and sexual diversity, however you rearrange those letters, there's a lot of inclusion. And it creates a spectrum that everyone exists on and doesn't really limit anything or anyone.